Shodanandana Brajajana Kanakana Shodanandana Brajajana Kanakana Avanatira Vanaka Iravana Hare Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Gadara Rivasari Bhattavri Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Jaya Radha, Damodara Radha, Damodara Radha. Gora Sandhanita, Gora Sandha Gora Rasa, Gora Prabhu Paradila Prabhupada Patila Prabhu. Ram Vishnu Paramahamsa Parivrajakaja Stuta Tarasala Shichimadi Vangini Pradechan Vindi Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON founder Chai Jagaguru Param Guru Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON Naravat Manataya Vindi Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vindi Ki Jai. Shri Namachaya Brahmachaya Shri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem se keo Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Srivasari Gauravata Vindi Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Damodara Gopa Gopinath Shama Kun Radha Kun Vigodana Kiya Vrindavan Mathura Dham Navadip Dham Ayodhya Dham Nila Chala Jagannath Dham Chidamai Pudam Ganga Mai Ki Bhakti Devi Ki Tulasi Devi Yamuna Mai Ki Tantaram Srimad Bhagavatam Sama Vidavatam Harinam Sankirtan Nitai Gora Premanandi. Glories to the somebody. Oh, glories to the somebody. Oh, glories to the somebody. Oh, glories to the Lord. To the Shivuru and Shivuru. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam. Thank you all for being here today for this Srimad Bhagavatam class. Today's reading is taken from Srimad Bhagavatam onto 7 chapter 2, text number 59 and 60. Because 59 has no purport. Okay. So I'll just read through the 59 and then at the 56, devotees can repeat it. Text 59. Yama etad upakyaya Vatra vantara diyata Yantayohi suya gyasya Chakru yat samparayikam. Word-to-word translation. Yamaraj in the form of a boy. Etad this. Upakyaya instructing. Tatra there. Iva indeed. Antaradiyata disappeared. Yantaya the relatives. He indeed. Suyajna Shya the king Suyajna. Chakru performed. Yat witches. Samparayikam the funeral ceremony. Translation and purport by translation by Shilaisi Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. After instructing all the foolish relatives of Suyajna, Yamaraj, in the form of a boy, disappeared from their vision. Then the relatives of King Suyajna performed the ritualistic funeral ceremony. Text 60. Ata ma yuyam param tatmanam eva va ta atma taha paro vatra sriyaha parakya eva va swa parabini vishina vina gyanina dehinam ataha sochata yuyam param chatmanam evava va atma taha paro vatra sriyaha parakya evava swapara bini vina gyanina dehinam ataha sochata mayuyam param chatmanam evava ka atma ka paro vatra Shreya parakya evava swapara bini vishina vina gyanina dehinam. Chant. Chata suchata yoyam param chatmanam evava Ka atma ka parobatra. Soya parakya ibaba. Swapara bine vishina. Vina gyanina dehinam. Atasu chata mayuyam. Param chatmanam ibaba. Ka atma ka parobatra. Jaya parakya ibaba. Swapara bine vishina. Anyone else on the Zoom?
Ata Shukitama Yam Param Chatmanam Evava Ka Atmaka Paro Vatra Sriya Parakya Evava Shrapara Biniveshena Vina Gyanena Dehinam.
Word-to-word translation. Therefore, so chata, lament for. Do not. You all of you. Param, another. Cha, and Atmanam, yourself. Eva, certainly. Va, all. Pa, who. Atma, self. Kaha, who. Para, other. Va, all. Atra, in this material world. Sriya, one's own. Parakia, for others. Eva, indeed. Va, all. Swapara abhini vishina, consisting of absorption in the bodily concept of oneself and others. Vina, besides. Agyanina, the lack of knowledge. Dehinam, all the embodied living entities. Translation and purport by Shalai Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Therefore, none of you should be aggrieved for the loss of the body, whether your own or those of others. Only in ignorance does one make bodily distinctions, thinking, who am I? Who are the others? Who is mine? What is for others? Is the first law of nature. According to this conception, one should be interested in his personal safety and should then consider society, friendship, love, nationality, community, and so on, which have all developed the bodily conception of life and a lack of knowledge of the spirit soul. This is called agyana. As long as human society is in darkness and ignorance, men will continue to make huge arrangements in the bodily conception of life. This is described by Prahlad Maharaj as Baram. In the materialism, modern civilization makes enormous arrangements for huge roads, houses, mills, and factories, and this is man's conception of the advancement of civilization. People do not know, however, that at any time they themselves may be kicked out of the scene and forced to accept bodies that have nothing to do with these enormous houses, palaces, roads, and automobiles. Therefore, when Arjuna was thinking in terms of his bodily relationship with his kinsman, Krishna immediately chastised him, saying, Kutastva kasmalam idam vishame samupastitam anaya justam. This bodily conception of life is befitting the anayas, the non-ayams, who are not advanced in knowledge, An iron civilization is a civilization advanced in spiritual knowledge. Not merely by stamping oneself as an iron does one become an iron. To keep oneself in the deepest darkness concerning spiritual knowledge and at the same claim to be an iron is a non-iron position. In this connection, Srila Madhvacharya quotes as follows from the Brahma Vivata Purana. La atmaka para iti dihai upashatya nahi de habi atmasyan nacha satru udiritaha ato dakiya vridova shayeva kim prayojanam yastu deha jiva hi nasamna gachati ata satru vivrido cha swanase suchanam putaha dihadi vyattiriko tu jivasho pratijanata atma ta atma vivridistu vasudev rati stira shatruna satata jnana nasho nanyas katana. The purport is that our body. Our duty is to understand the soul within the body. The body is not the self. We are different from the body. And therefore, there is no question of friends, enemies, or responsibilities in terms of the bodily conception of life. One should not be very anxious about the body's changing from childhood to boyhood, from boyhood to old age, and then to apparent annihilation. Rather, one should be very seriously concerned about the soul, the body, and how to release the serial clutches. The living entity within the body is never annihilated. Therefore, one should surely know that whether one has many friends or many enemies, his friends cannot help him, and his enemies cannot do him any harm. One should know that he is a spirit soul, Aham Brahmasmi, and that the constitutional position of the soul is unaffected by the changes of the body. In all circumstances, everyone as a spirit soul must be a devotee of Lord Vishnu and should not be concerned with bodily relationships. Neither we ourselves nor our enemies in the bodily conception of life are ever killed. Om Magena Timanandashya, Jnana Jana Salakaya, Chakshu Omnitam Yenata Smai Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manubhistam Stapita Minabhutali, Prabhupada Kadamayan Dadati Swapadanti Kam. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagapati, Gopisha Gopika Kantarada Kantana Stiti. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadara Srivasari. Krishna Krishna Hari Hari. Hare Rama 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 Hari Hari. Hare Krishna 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 Hari Hari. Hare Rama 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 Hari Hari. Hare Krishna 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 Hari Hari. Hare Rama 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 Hari Hari. Mao Vishnu Padaya Krishna Krista Bhutali Shrimati Bhakti Tita Swami Tinamni. Namaste Krishna Padaya Prabhupada Shitatmani Shri Gora Karuna Shakti Bhakti Tita. Namaste Vishnu Padaya Krishna Krista Bhutali Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Tinamni. Namaste Saraswati Devi Goravani Pracharini. Nirvashi Shashunyavadi Pashatari Satari. Therefore, none of you should be aggrieved for the loss of the body, whether your own or those of others. Only in ignorance does one make bodily distinctions, thinking, who am I? Who are the others? What is mine? And what is for others? Hare Krishna. So this is a very elaborate purport. So after reading this purport, you will not even need to say anything because Prabhupada had already said everything. but somehow or the other we will try to say something a little bit, and we'll give room for questions. So it says, in the purport, Prabhupada was referring how in this world, the conception of self-preservation is the first law of nature. In other words, everybody is thinking that I have to defend myself. I have to take care of myself before I look to others, right? Because everybody is thinking, if I'm not able to take care of myself, how can I take care of somebody else? So we are separate, the concept of self-preservation. And it extends from the individual to the family. Because in the second level, the family level, everybody is thinking, I should first take care of my family before I think about the community, right? Then it goes on, oh, I should take care of my community before I think about what? The village. Then it goes further. I should take care of my village before I think about what? The city, and like that. Then eventually it reaches the level of nationalism, where you think, oh, I should take care of my country, my country before I think about other countries. So in this way, we are always limiting ourselves to the concept of I and my and all those things, and forgetting completely about the real living entity, which is the soul, the spirit soul. And Prabhupada is saying that the spirit soul is never affected by any material condition, because the spirit soul is as good as God himself, Sachit Ananda. He's eternal, he's ever existing. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, for the soul there is neither birth nor death, nor having once been does he ever cease to be. He is unborn, he is primeval. He is not slain when the body is slain. And we understand in our everyday language, we keep saying it every day. We say it, that we are not these bodies. But somehow or the other, it doesn't even click that we are always saying that we are not these bodies. If somebody passes away, whoever visit will see the person lying on the bed, and they will offer their respects and say, oh, he's gone. What is gone? The body is lying there. The two eyes are there, the nostril, the nose is there, the ears are there, the mouth, the stomach, everything is there. And yet we say he's gone. So that language itself tells you that the actual person is different from the body that is lying down. Because if it's the body that is lying down, we wouldn't say he's gone. We would say, oh, he's here, right? So just by we saying that he's gone means that that personality is different from the body that is lying there. And if he's different from the personality, the body that is lying there, then who is he? And that's why most of the time we say, like I say, every day the language we speak tells us that we are not these bodies, right? It's like someone, when you are talking to someone and you want to emphasize a point, you say, hey, you. When you say, hey, you, where do you point at? Do you ever say, hey, you, and point at the person's leg? Or if you say me, are you talking to me? Have you ever seen someone saying, are you talking to me? And pointing at the head? Or are you talking to me and pointing at the stomach or the leg? Anytime you say, are you talking to me? You point to a particular place of the body. Where? The heart region. Why do you point there? Why do you point at the heart region? Because according to the scripture, you, as the spirit soul, you live in the heart region. That is the home, the sitting place of the soul, the heart region. And by the soul giving the required energy in the heart region, the heart begins to function, and it makes the whole body. Consciousness is spread throughout the body. And immediately the soul departs. Then there's no more consciousness. And what happens? We call you a dead body. So this everyday language is telling us that we are not these bodies. And yet we always make elaborate arrangements to take care of this body and neglect our real being. It's like somebody who takes very good care of his clothes. Huh? You wake up every morning, you iron your dhoti, you iron your kota, make it very nice. But you yourself, you don't eat, you don't do anything, you don't take care of the body. So at the end of the day, what happens? The dhoti will be nice, nicely ironed, and you are dying. You are dying. So what is the point of taking care of the dhoti and all these clothes, your kota and everything, without taking care of the body, which is going to put on the dhoti? So similarly, if we make elaborate arrangement, taking care of this physical body and neglecting our real self, the real we, then we are just the same as the person who is always taking good care of the dhoti and the kota, but not taking care of his body, right? So at the end of the day, you see that you're taking care of the dhoti and the kota is useless because the body cannot even wear the kota or the dhoti. So if you take care of the body so nicely and you don't take care of the owner of the body, which is the soul, then the same thing happens. At the end of the day, the body is so nice, and once the soul departs from the body, that body is useless. It has no value anymore. Everybody's, as long as the soul is within this body, everybody will be glorifying you. People will say, oh, oh, Prabhu, you are such a wonderful person. But immediately the soul departs from the body, nobody wants to even be in the same room with you. Because it becomes the body becomes a different thing, right? People don't even want to come close to it. So this is the nature of the world. We are so absorbed in thinking of this physical body that we neglect the real you, the real self. And until we come, so in the paper Prabhupada was speaking about when somebody is said to be an iron is someone who is spiritually aware of himself, him or herself. And so a true iron is the one who realizes that I'm not this body. And every steps that he takes in life, he takes the life to make sure that he feeds himself, the soul. He make the right preservation of the soul proper. In this way, then you are making a healthy. Otherwise, this particular soul will keep repeating birth and death. Today, you may spend your whole time, you may spend your whole energy building big mansion and doing everything. But when you don't take care of the soul, then by the time you realize after you leave, the soul leaves this body, then you yourself, you might take birth again in that same big mansion that you built in the form of a cockroach. And then people will be hunting you. Surapa will go to the store and buy some, what do we call it? Insecticide spray to come and spray you out of your own building, your own house. You build it. But because you have appeared there as a cockroach, now they are hunting you. They want to clear you out of the building. So that is the most miserable situation in the world. You struggle and preserve this body and make elaborate arrangement for this body. But at the end of the day, if we don't take proper care of ourselves, then it becomes useless. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't take care of this body. Huh? It's like if you are there and even though you know you are not this body, but if you don't take care of your clothes, then everybody will think you are a bum, right? You'll be smelling, the clothes will be smelling, you yourself, you'll be smelling, and nobody will even respect you. But you take care of the clothes. And more important, you take care of the body that is wearing that clothes, right? So similarly, you take care of the body, but more important is to take care of the one who is owning the body, the owner of the body. Because without the owner of the body is useless. So we are not saying that you shouldn't take care of the body. If you don't take care of this body, then with what body, with what are you going to bow down to the spiritual master and get mercy? You need the body to bow down. You need the body to do some service, right? So it's very important that you take good care of the body. But at the same time, what is more important than taking care of the body is taking care of the owner of the body. That is more important. Other than that, our whole life becomes useless. And that's why when Arjuna was giving big time philosophy to Krishna, see, when Arjuna was speaking big time philosophy to Krishna, no, I'm not fighting again. I'm not fighting. Why should I fight? Because according to the scriptures, that those who kill the men of the society, those who kill the men in the community, when the men are killed, the women wouldn't have any what? Protectors. And when the women don't have protectors, what happened? He said they become loose. And when the women become loose, there is what? Unwanted progeny. They give birth to unwanted children because people will take advantage of them. They give birth to unwanted children. And when there is unwanted children produced, when so many unwanted children are produced, then what? Society become chaotic. So I don't want to be the cause of creating that chaos in the society. So I'm not fighting. And Krishna said, you are speaking, you're speaking like an intelligent person, but you are fool number one. Because all these people that are gathered there, none of them is that body that you are looking at. All right? None of them. And Krishna says, I've already finished them. I've already killed them. But I'm just giving you the opportunity to what? To take the glory for yourself. In other words, thinking about the Lord in executing your an activity is more superior to thinking about yourself and your self-preservation. And that is the same example biblically when Saul was ordered by God. Saul was going for a war and he was ordered by God in the book of Samuel, first book of Samuel. He says, God says, go there. When you go to that wall, don't preserve anything, kill everything. Men, women, children, animals, kill everything. Don't bring anything. And Saul went to the war. He defeated the Philistines. And what did he do? He grabbed the king. He didn't kill the king. He grabbed the king and brought the king home just to show off that he has actually been able to capture the king alive. And what else did he do? He brought all the cows, all the, what we call, the cattle, fowls, everything. He brought a lot of them. And he brought the ones that are fat, those that are actually grown big, and he brought them. When Samuel, that time Samuel was the chief priest, the powerful Brahmana. When he saw all these things, he said, Saul, what have you done? What are you bringing this thing for? The Lord said you should destroy everything. And he says, oh, I have good intention. I brought all of this to use them to make sacrifice to the Lord. And Samuel said, no, obedience is better than sacrifice. Obedience is better than what? Sacrifice. So similarly, obedience to the Lord and the spiritual master is better than what? Trying to propagate big time philosophies. Because propagation of big time philosophy will not save you. But you're being obedient to the Lord and the spiritual master, that is what is going to save you from the cycle of samsara. Right? So under all circumstances, we should make arrangements we should be so dedicated in thinking of trying to obey the instructions of Guru and Krishna. And we work towards following whatever instruction that we have been given for the benefit of humanity at large. In this way, we can make a good headway, because as long as we obey the Lord, then the Lord himself will take care of whatever else that is there for us. Other than that, all the action, because in Bhagavad Gita, Srila Prabhupada explains in one of his purports that for every action you perform in this world, there is a fault with it. It goes with a fault, right? If even you are performing fire sacrifice, all the arrangement you are making, it comes with a fault. Because whilst you are making the fire, you will be killing some living entities, some insects and everything, you'll be killing her. Whilst you are walking from your house to the temple, on the road, you'll be killing a lot of living entities by stepping on them and killing them. Every action you take in this world comes with a fault. But if you perform the action with the mentality of what? Serving the Lord, with the heart of giving the service to the Lord, then all those unconscious sins are taken care of by the Lord. In that way, you'll be able to progress in life and eventually go back home, back to God. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
You still have 20 minutes. Are there any questions or comments?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay, so gentlemen, can you increase the volume a little bit so that those on Zoom can hear whatever questions somebody asks? Right.
Thank you so much for wonderful class as usually. Dear Pandit. So I have a question for you.
Mhm.
Since you are very learned Pandita, maybe you can help us to solve the problem of taking care of ourselves instead of our community before we take care of the nation of the United States. America. So you mentioned that obedience is more important than sacrifice. As we know, Srila Prabhupada established not only this movement to get all these conditioned souls who are open for spirituality together, but he also established rules and regulations of freedom to function in this togetherness, this community. So we should start our life, daily life, with worshiping the Supreme Lord. And he delineated very precise methodology what to do and how to do. So we should start our day with morning program. There is man to worship the Supreme Lord. And this is called also, as we know, the program of spiritual progress. If we don't do this, so then this question, why we are here? What we do? And why we do it? So we see that it's just only few of us here. So where we do the rest? Where the obedience? And what is the sacrifice that all others do? So my question is, what to do that will be all community here in this temple together, obediently worship the Supreme Lord and obediently serve the Supreme Lord, not count the hours. Oh, I spent 2 hours already, or I spent 6 hours during this day, too much. So how to change the mentality from this type of mentality of selfishness, counting, what I did, or or not being on the morning program, to mentality that I'm here to worship the Supreme Lord together with other devotees, and it doesn't matter how many hours I'm serving during the day. This is back-ish. I'm going to show my love and devotion, not just hours of money.
Thank you very much, Prabhu, for your question. This question is a very, very deep question, and it actually needs a very deep thinking. Yeah. You see, practicing of spiritual life shouldn't be like a corporate, what do we call it, a business venture, right? Many a time, we turn spiritual life into business to the extent that if even you are performing your spiritual activities, you are thinking at the back of your mind, oh, because I'm doing this, then Krishna will do this for me. That is business. That is not devotional life. That is business. You are just doing it because you want Krishna to reciprocate in a particular way for you, right? No, that is not how we worship God. We worship God with the mentality that it's my duty to do it. Let me break it down. When you have two children in the house, but one child, anytime you see the child performing an activity in the house, sweeping the house, cleaning the bathroom, right after doing that, you will come and you know that today we are supposed to bring something to school. I need about $20 or $50. And when you give the $20 or $50 to the child, he doesn't do anything. The next time you see him doing this. So anytime you see the child working very hard in the house, what comes to your mind? As a father, then you know he has something under his sleeve, right? Because he's the business child. Whenever he does service, he wants a reciprocation. So the second child, he doesn't ask anything from you. He will clean the bathroom, he will clean the kitchen, he will clean everything. Very nice. Always, without asking anything. He does, that is his life. He is always cleaning. So if you are actually a father who have very deep thoughts, will you say, oh, because this child is not asking me anything, so I'll not give him anything? You realize that as a good father, you study that child who always work without asking you anything. You will approach the child and ask him, do you need something? Is there something that you need to bring to school? He doesn't have to. You don't have to wait for him to ask him because he's already doing everything out of his heart. It's a service to you, the father. And so as a parent, automatically you want to reciprocate without him asking. So similarly, when we do our devotion and we do it out of our heart, then Krishna and Guru always be thinking, oh, I have to do something for this child. Huh? But if you are doing it and you are always asking, then anytime you start sweeping the temple room, Krishna will be like, this guy has something in mind. That is why he's in this. So we don't have to be like that business type of worship. We have to be out of heart. And in that way, Krishna himself, in his causeless mercy, will give us the reciprocation. Right? Because there are a lot of things like Krishna has already given us. He's given us so much. Huh? If you are sick and you go to the hospital and you can't breathe and they put a ventilator on you, that oxygen, do you know how much they charge you for just getting that oxygen at the hospital? So much money they will charge you. But now that you are not sick, Krishna is already giving you the oxygen for free. More than the amount of oxygen the ventilator can give you. He's already giving you for free. Yeah, it's back. Now can you hear me on the Zoom?
Yes, you're back.
All right. So all these things we are doing, Krishna is doing all these wonderful things for us. We don't even beg. When come to think of it, look, if you want to limit your work to a particular number of hours, it's funny. Look at this way. How many hours do you normally start what they say if you want to be healthy? About how many hours? 6 about 8 hours, they say. If you sleep 8 hours, then it's very good for your body, right? So let's assume that ever since you were born, you sleep 8 hours. So if you sleep 8 hours a day, what is the fraction of 8 hours in 24 hours? 1/3. So it means since you were born, if you sleep 8 hours a day, by the time you are 60 years old, you have slept 20 years. Right? You've slept 20 years doing nothing, not serving the Lord, not doing anything. And if you work your job at 8 hours a day for 60 years, you have also worked another 20 years of your life without doing anything. How many minutes did you use to eat? How many hours did you use to chat unnecessarily? By the time you do all that calculation, you realize that you have not sure that he gets a good internet. Make sure you get good internet so that we can talk about it. So you realize that you have not served the Lord even for 2 years out of your 60 years to live in this world. So what is the point of this saying have worked some not specified number of hours? Everything you do should come out of your heart. And that was what Jesus was trying to tell his disciples.
Yeah, go ahead.
Jesus was trying to tell his disciples in Matthew chapter 6 from verse 25 to 31. He says, if even you are asking something from the Lord, don't automatic, right? And that's why Jesus was saying, seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and the rest he will automatically add it unto you. So seek ye first the devotion of the Lord, and the rest Krishna has already promised in Bhagavad Gita, that if you become my devotee, I preserve what you have and supply what you lack. Many a time, there are a lot of things that we may even think that we want, but in the true sense, we don't even need them. Because the human nature is always looking for things. All right? So the question you are asking, when we are performing devotional service, it shouldn't become a business type of venture. We shouldn't work as corporate people, right? Not only the devotees, not only the people who are working, that should not have the mentality of a corporate settings, that I have worked 8 hours or nothing. Meanwhile, the people who are taking care of them shouldn't let it look like a corporate setup. Because if you don't see it as a devotional life, that everybody is voluntarily doing it, and you instill the mentality of corporate setup to them, then this is what also raises another issue. Because everybody is thinking like a corporate thing, right? I've done 6 hours, I've done 2 hours, 8 hours. No, I'm not doing anything else. That is no devotional service. It should come out of your heart. Right? So if after you take care, you milk the cows, and so when you are coming and you see a big chunk of nails on the road, then you say, oh no, I've finished my 8 hours. So this thing should be there. Huh? I don't care. If you think like that, do you know what happens? Let me tell you a story before I end this thing. One time, the mouth, the nose, the eye, and the ear. You see how they live together? The eye, the nose, the mouth, the ear. And the mouth started insulting somebody. The mouth started saying some curse words to somebody. And the ear was telling the nose, hey, my friend, let's advise this mouth. What he's doing is dangerous. It's not safe for us. And the nose said, I don't care. It's his problem. Let him talk. If he wants to insult, leave him alone. Let him insult. And the eye also said, hey, and the ear went to the eye and said, eye, what are you waiting? Let's talk to mouth for him to stop all this nonsense, because it might end us into trouble. And I don't care. It's his problem. So the mouth kept insulting. And this guy became so angry. He raised his hand, and the guy, because he's a very gigantic guy, he has got a big palm. And he had a big slap. And when the slap came, what happened? It hit the mouth, it hit the nose, it hit the eye and the ear. There was so much noise in the ear couldn't function anymore. The nose was as big as that, the eye was reddish, and so the ear was telling them, I told you we should advise this guy. And all of you were saying you don't care. Now when the problem came, who suffered? All of us. So in practicing devotional service, we are all in it together. Right? So you don't say, I've done this, so I'm okay, I will not do this. Oh, this is not my business. No. We are in it together. So if even you are finished a service you are performing and somebody is even behind, you should come out to do. Do you need some help? Can I help with something? In this way, we go hand in hand, and we help each other, and we make progress. Right? Does it answer your question? Thank you. So that is how we should pray. Devotional service, that's why we call it devotional service. It's voluntary. You have to voluntarily do it. Nobody has to force you. See, Krishna says something that not even Jesus told something to his disciples. He said, if you are doing good, don't do good to those who will return the goodness. Because what is the point? If you know, if I I give $100 to this guy. Oh, very soon he's going to give me $100 back. When I need it, he will be in the position to give to me. That's why you are giving. That is business. It's not a very good venture. But give it to those who cannot return the favor. And it should come out of your heart. That is devotion. Right? The story of the Good Samaritan. What happened? This guy had been beaten by thugs. He's lying there dying. Somebody is going to church. He reaches there and he says, no, I'm late. I'm late for Mongarati. I can't take care of it. And you come to Mongarati. And when you come to Mongarati, you are like a Paka devotee. Jaya Shri Krishna. Meanwhile, the person is dying at the roadside. And you think Krishna appreciates you coming to stand in front of him and chanting Jaya Shri Krishna whilst you left someone on the roadside to die? No. So after Jesus described everything, one of the people, he was not even godly. He doesn't even think about God. He's a businessman. He saw this guy and said, oh, this guy, no, he needs help. So he picked him up, took him to the hospital. He said, hey, take this deposit. When I'm coming back, if the deposit is not enough, I'll pay the rest. After Jesus related that story, then he asked the disciples, among the people who met this dying man on the roadside, who do you think is his neighbor? Is it the priest? Is it the Jew who just passed by and went away? They all said no. The ungodly person who thought this guy needed help and helped him. He's the actual neighbor of this person. So that is why we should become. We should be our brother's keeper. Help each other on the path of devotion. And in this way, we can make a headway. All right? That is devotional service. We don't do business with Krishna. Already Krishna has given us so much that we cannot even pay him. And still we want to do business with him. Yeah? All right? Thank you very much. Our time is up. Can you speak to the team because those on Zoom want to hear? You said
So all the point that you said now is transaction with Krishna. But right now, everybody that's living here in the temple is kind of like taking shelter of ISKCON. So there's a difference. Because, we've heard from many devotees that, how they've been exploited in the past. So how to reconcile that?
Yeah, basically, ISKCON is a body that Srila Prabhupada has created. And this body is supposed to be the reciprocal entity, right? Instead of me and Srila, it should be between ISKCON and the devotees, right? So ISKCON as a body is we should see it not as an impersonal entity. We should see ISKCON as a body, as a personality. And in that way, the ISKCON will have to deal with the devotees in a personal way, not in an impersonal way, right? So I think that is how Prabhupada created the movement, ISKCON. But unfortunately, we know an institution, and gradually as things get polluted, then the institution becomes so impersonal that the institution, at a certain point in time, if you are not lucky, will only be interested in the service you can render, but not what the institution can give you, right? It shouldn't be like that. It should be personal relationship between the devotees, because without the devotees, there is no ISKCON. It's the devotees who make ISKCON. Without the devotees, where is this? So there must be a personal relationship, right? We reciprocate to each other. And so when we are rendering service to ISKCON, we don't do it like in an empty space. We do it from our heart. that this body represents Prabhupada. And so we are doing the service to honor Prabhupada and our Guru Maharaj, because our Guru Maharaj is supposed to serve Prabhupada, and we are helping our Guru Maharaj to serve Prabhupada. So we should do it out of our heart. And similarly, the ISKCON must also reciprocate that this person need this person. We need Prashadam. Like myself, I need some punya. And if Dhruva doesn't give me, ISKCON doesn't give me some punya, then I'll be upset. So there must be a reciprocation, all right? Hand go and hand comes, right? That is how the tortoise, you see the tortoise, when it's walking, it's a big philosophy the tortoise speaks. When the tortoise is walking, you see he move one hand forward and move this one, huh? What he's preaching is that hand go, hand comes. Hand go, hand comes. So when we reciprocate with each other, I mean, appreciation is very important. Appreciation. If you don't appreciate something somebody is doing, that is really bad. So if ISKCON doesn't appreciate the devotees, and if the devotees doesn't appreciate ISKCON, then there's a problem. When Jesus healed 10 people, only one of them came back, said, "Oh, Master, thank you very much." And Jesus said, "Where are the rest? The 9 of them, where are they?" You think Jesus didn't need appreciation? I healed 10 of you. You only came back. Where are the 9? Say, I don't know. After they got their healing, wow, they are lost. They don't care anymore. That shouldn't be our mentality, right? Our mentality should be that we are in this until we get out of this world. We don't want to go and come back. And the only way that we can go and not come back is to be very sincere with ourselves, sincere to our spiritual master, and serve the mission of our spiritual master. All right? Any questions? Our time is up. The pujaris, what do we say? Are we good? Okay, thank you. The pujaris need more time, so people, you can still ask your question. So, okay, Prabhu.
I just thought that's so Paul was asking how would that probably created for that. You gave me one of the description, but I think he was asking how that created.
How to create that? Yeah. He said, Jagapani's question is that Surapo question that the question Surapo asked, the actual substance in the question was how to create that mutual platform where everybody would think like, oh yeah, yeah, it's simple, right? Like the description I was giving, if you have a child in the house and the child always do service to you and without asking you anything, huh? If you are really a very sincere parent, would you say that because the child is not asking anything from me, so I will not reciprocate? It doesn't work that way. Then you are not a good parent, right? So similarly, whenever you are doing any service, the service should come from our heart. And so the environment should be such that we recognize the service that everybody is rendering. Huh? And by doing so, the person himself will also feel that, oh, I need to do something more. I mean, the environment should be created in such a way that the devotee is always feeling, oh, I've not done enough. Huh? I've not done enough. But it shouldn't be such that the devotee is thinking, I'm dying. I can't do. So we should create the system and the environment in such a way that if even you yourself, the third person, you see that this devotee is really tired, I can see it in the face. I can see it in his or her actions. Then you should relieve the devotee of that particular service. Huh? Prabhu, I want to help a little bit. You look so tired. You can take some rest. Right? We don't say that because I'm done with my whatever I'm doing, then you should go to hell. You can die. I don't care. That is not a good mentality. Huh? I put my hours in. So what do I care? You can go to hell. That shouldn't be our mentality. That is really a very bad mentality, right? We should be our brother's keeper. That's what that I'm trying to say. For we to live in a very sane environment, we should be our brother's keeper. And we should be there for each other. Whether we are siblings in the house from the same parents, or we are devotees in the temple from different parents, but we have come together. That is what creates, what do we call it? A community. We should be there for each other. That song that Chintamani loves so much. What is the song? How do we sing it? Hold my hand. Sorry. We hold each other's hand, right? And so in Africa, there is a saying that you see the broom. In Africa, the broom is not like this one stick broom. And it's a combination of different small sticks put together. And so there is a saying in African language that if you take one stick out of the broom, the big broom, it's easy to break it. But if you put all of them together, you can never break it. So together, we stand. Individually, we fall. Right? So even for us to be strong in our devotional path, we need togetherness. By yourself, I can assure you, you cannot stand. If you like, chant 64 rounds a day. Do whatever you want to do. Do any service that you want to do. But if you isolate yourself, you will fall down. Because you are not strong enough to face Maya. Maya has so many tricks. But if you are together, then Maya becomes a little bit scared because he knows whatever angle he goes, one of the people will find out and point it out to the others, right? That is the way to survive in devotional life. We call it Sadhu Sangha. The Christians call it the communion of saints. Without the communion of saints, you cannot make a headway. You need each other. That is the principle of what? Of progress. Even politicians, immediately politicians begin to isolate themselves. They lose everything. They become useless. But if they stick together, because the more someone opposes you, the position is very good. Because the more someone opposes you, he draws your attention to your shortfalls. So if you are a person with good mentality, then, oh, what this person is saying is true. I need to do something about it, right? But if you are not having such a good mentality, then you become like a demonic type of mentality. He is my enemy. I have to eliminate him. That shouldn't be our mentality. We are devotees. We need each other, right? And it doesn't matter. You can be a devotee who has been practicing for 60 years. But I can assure you, a devotee who comes to tomorrow, yesterday, can help you a lot in your devotional life. Because he might say one thing that will help you. Huh? You want to hear the story about that? That is good to listen to everybody. There is this guy who said that he doesn't want to go to a church because all the people who go to church, he doesn't know what they are doing. They are nonsense. So he will not even go to church. So he never went to church. And one day, he was a thief. One day he went to steal, and the police were after him. So he ran. Eventually, he saw a small bush path, and he went through that path thinking he can evade the police. So immediately he entered the path, short distance, and he saw it was a bridge. The path led to a bridge. So he went on the bridge. He looked at the left, there is a big river. On the right, big river. Whoa. The police are behind him. They're also on the bridge. He doesn't know how to swim. Because if he jumps on the left, he will drown and die. If he jumps on the right, he will drown and die. So he has to continue. So he kept going, not knowing that the bridge goes into a church. All right? So he didn't have any option. He has to go into the church to save himself. So he entered the church. And when he entered the church, he said, if even something has forced me to come to the church, I will not listen to what they are saying. So he put his hands in his ear so that he will not hear whatever they are saying. He was so determined, right? But before he plugged his ears, he heard one thing. And the thing he heard was that spirits have no shadow. Spirits have no shadow. So if a spirit is in this room, the light cannot throw a shadow of the spirit. And the police came to the church and they grabbed him. They took him to the cell. And once he was in the cell, they didn't have any concrete evidence against him. So somehow or the other, they had to leave him, right? But one of the policemen, one woman among the police people said, I can trick him for him to confess. Because these thieves, they are always scared of the ghosts, the spirits. So I'll trick him. So don't worry. So they agreed. And at night, while the guy was sleeping, this lady dressed all white apparel with jewels, everything, and went into the cell. And so the guy was sleeping and he waked up and saw this beautiful lady standing on top of him. And they said, don't be scared. I'm the spirit of this land. I have come to save you. But before I do anything to save you, you have to confess to me everything that you did about the stealing. So the guy was, within his heart, he was, now I get a savior. So just as he was about to start confessing, he remembered something. What did he remember? That spirits have no what? Shadow. And he looked at the back behind the woman and there was a shadow. So immediately he knew, I'm being tricked. So he kept quiet. He didn't say anything. So that church that he said he promised never to go, the one word he heard in the church saved him. So similarly, the same thing can happen to you. You don't want to meet any devotee, but maybe one word that devotee will say might save you from the cycle of birth and death. Hare Krishna. Tantaram Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Govinda Adi Purush Aham Bhaja Govinda Adi Purusha